Hi, INFJs. Let me ask you, have you ever looked at somebody and thought to yourself, yeah, I know they are not good for me, but I can see their potential. I can see who they're going to be if I can just fix them. This was me. Oh, I would get so mad at myself. I'd find myself in one bad relationship after another. And I couldn't see the red flags. It felt like I couldn't see the red flags until it was too late. And then I would beat myself up about it. This is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to have a chat about why INFJs are wired to see the potential in toxic people, because we're just wired that way. We're just wired. There's nothing wrong with us. We're just wired that way. And why we have a hard time seeing the reality. But then I'm actually going to share with you ways to retrain ourselves to break this cycle, because we can break it. It is possible to break it. Even though we're wired this way, we can break it. So if you find yourself in one bad relationship after another, stick around. You might find this helpful. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm glad you found it. My name's Trina. I'm an INFJ and I'm also autistic. I created this channel with hopes of helping people like myself feel seen, heard, and understood. I also help INFJs heal self-love through classes, community, and coaching. So if you're new, welcome. I hope you find it helpful. If you're returning to my channel, I'm glad you came back. I'm grateful for everybody. Before we get going, I invite you, if you haven't yet, to subscribe to my channel and like this video. I would really appreciate the support. Okay, INFJs. This is interesting I'm doing this video because I don't generally talk much about relationships because, well, I'm just going to be honest. I may have a little imposter syndrome going on around relationships. Because I really don't think of myself as a relationship counselor type of person. However, I do know quite a bit about INFJs and relationships, so I thought this would be a good one when I was thinking about it, how we have a really hard time seeing those red flags because we focus on what we see, everyone else's potential, instead of really those red flags. We're really great at that. And it's because of our unique combo of empathy and idealism. It creates blind spots for us so that we can't see those red flags. We can't see those toxic behaviors clearly because we are so focused on what they could be. So I'm not saying when people have toxic behaviors that they're just a bad person completely, because that is not true at all. People will develop toxic behaviors because of past experiences that they've had to go through in life, whether they're INFJ or not. And for us, we will see, you know what, we could fix that. They just need to be fixed and they would be okay. And look at the potential they have. And I'm saying, yeah, they probably do have that potential, but we can't fix them. So why do we see potential instead of reality as an INFJ? We have a rare gift of seeing beneath the surface of others. And I do say it's a gift because it is. We have the ability to lift people up, to bring out the best in people. We have that ability, and that's a gift. However, we need to be aware that with that gift comes a little bit, I don't want to say a weakness. No, I'm going to use the word blind spot. It comes a blind spot. So our introverted intuition, which is a super powerhouse, a super duper powerhouse, and it's our very first dominant function. It's what we use pretty much for everything in life. We see people for who they could be. This is what allows us to see people for who they could be, that potential, right? So with that, when we see people with these toxic behaviors, we don't judge them based on their toxic, right? We see, oh yeah, they might do this, but look at who they could be. And that's a gift, right? This vision that we have of people, it feels vivid and it feels so real that we really, truly believe this is who we could be. We mistake it for truth. That's the issue with it, that we need to be very careful of, is that we will mistake that vision, that potential that we see in people for truth. Now our extroverted feeling comes along and works with this, and this drives us to care very deeply for other people. So deeply that we will feel responsible to help other people grow to their absolute best. We feel that that is our responsibility. And though I'm going to say again, that is a gift because we can bring out the best in people. And These two things will make us amazing leaders in our career because of the potential that we can see in people and how we can help them grow. We have to remember it's not our responsibility that they grow. Everybody's responsible. So we often ignore harmful patterns that are right in front of us. Those red flags, we will ignore them. We won't even see them. So the manipulative behavior, those red flags, our empathy allows toxic people to take advantage of our good intentions. That's what happens. They take advantage of our good intentions. This isn't a flaw. Again, I'm saying it's not a flaw, so don't think of it as a flaw. It is our strength and it is a gift if we use it in the correct way. But it's just something that we need to be aware of, that this can happen. So the dangers to us when we aren't aware of this, when we are so focused on that vivid picture, that vision that we see of other people, is we may start to rationalize red flags. And harmful behaviors. So what I mean by that is they'll do something that really is not acceptable, and we know this, and instead of addressing it, we may find that we'll say, oh, you know what, they're just hurt. I'll help them heal and then they will be better. Have you ever said that? I have. Multiple times I've caught myself saying that, oh, well, you know, this happened when they were kids and they just need to heal from it. And once they heal, they're not going to do this again. It's my responsibility to help them heal. That's what I would think, right? This is emotionally draining for us. So we're trying to fix others, and this leaves us depleted, isolated, and it will feed our self-doubt. We will start doubting ourselves. So we don't want to go down that road. That's a whole nother can of worms for another day, dealing with self-doubt. It's a very powerful force to deal with. So we don't want to go down that road. And we may stay attracted to that vision of that person, that potential that we see in that person, instead of addressing harmful behaviors. So we could find ourselves in this relationship for a number of years, for a very long time. That was me. Much too long, and I paid the price for it. So how do we break this cycle? I'm going to share with you 3 ways, 3 things that I do. I still work on this because I think I'm a work in progress, so I still work on this. So these are the top 3 things that I recommend. There are more, but I don't want this video to be too long. So I pulled out my top favorite ones to break this cycle. Number 1, lean into sensory reality. So observe the present actions rather than overthinking future possibilities. So if we find that we're really focused on what could be, that's our cue to step back and focus on what is going on right now. So a good way to do this is practice grounding techniques. This will help us stay connected into what's happening now. We're very futuristic thinkers. We like, and we're really good at, we see the entire picture, so that makes us really good at thinking one step ahead into the future, even sometimes 10 or 15 steps ahead. We're really good at that, but it doesn't always serve us. It does have its purpose. It definitely does have its purpose, so don't stop completely doing that. However, we do need to make sure that we spend a fair amount of time in the present moment so that we do not get caught up in the future vision that isn't what reality is right at the moment. Number 2, reframe what is our responsibility. I've said this in other videos. I'm on my exercise ball here, so I tend to be rolling. My apologies if I'm rolling a lot. I like to move around. I've said this in a number of videos. The best piece of advice I have ever been given was, everybody else's level of comfort is not your responsibility. This goes with it. What is our responsibility? Know the difference between supporting and enabling somebody. Huge difference. Huge difference. Often we will find that we enable people. Even if we're trying so hard to support them, we're enabling them. When we're feeling tempted to justify behavior, it's great to use statements like, I know you've been through a lot, but that doesn't make it okay to treat me this way. That's a great one to use. So it's not putting all the blame on them. It's just stating a simple fact. Or another one is, I hope for their growth, but I don't have to sacrifice my well-being waiting for it to happen. That's a great one. Another great one. Another statement is, I am not responsible for their healing. This one I use all the time. Actually, the last two I use all the time. I just say it to myself. I am not responsible for their healing. And their growth is not my responsibility. If they're not going to do the work themselves, we can't change that. We can't help them. They are not going to grow. We can't make them grow. Remember that. And that goes back to that piece of advice, is that everyone else's level of comfort is not our responsibility. So when we think that they need to be fixed or whatever, we're trying to fix that comfort level. We're trying to make them grow. We're trying to make them feel better. But unless they're going to do it themselves, we cannot do it. The third thing to do is to develop a red flag radar. This is a great one. Ask yourself questions such as, how am I feeling around this person? Am I feeling drained or am I feeling uplifted? Ask yourself, step back and ask yourself silently, is this how I want to be treated? Did I deserve to be treated this way? If not, that's a red flag. Sometimes all it takes to identify those red flags is stepping back and simply asking the question, hey Trina, was that a red flag? Am I missing red flags? And often I can see them. Yes, you are missing red flags, Trina, because quite often I am. I hope this video was helpful. I truly do. I know many of us INFJs and autistic INFJs, we will find ourselves in one toxic relationship after another. It doesn't mean it's romantic relationships. It can be platonic relationships where we will find ourselves being friends with somebody that is constantly using us, constantly putting us down. I always say kicking us while we're down. I found myself lots in platonic relationships like that where we were just being used for our empathy and because we made them feel better about themselves. So they would use that, but they wouldn't use it to grow. They would just continue to use it because it was an easy way for them to feel better about themselves for that moment. I hope this video was helpful. Again, if you haven't yet, I invite you to subscribe to my channel and like this video. Feel free to share it. The more times it's shared, the more INFJs we get to help. And that's what it's about. I'll talk to you all very soon with another video. Bye for now.